In our top stories tonight, National Month celebrations, a reminder of success in self-governance. Weightlifter Anik delivers first gold medal for Malaysia. Having faced a health and economic crisis due to COVID-19 for over 2 years, the Ma'al Hijrah celebration this year focused on the spirit of togetherness and consensus among the people in facing challenges as Keluarga Malaysia. In Perak, the Sultan of Perak, Sultan Nazrin Shah, touched on the issue of food supply security and called for strategic measures to be introduced. At the state-level Ma'al Hijrah celebration, Sultan Nazrin presented the Tokoh Ma'al Hijrah Award to a member of the Perak Fatwa Committee, Dato' Asad Awang, while the Secretary of Jami' Bengkalan Hulu Mosque, Sirat Abdullah, received the Al-Ridwan Award. In Johor, Menteri Besar Dato' On Hafiz Ghazi, when speaking at the Ma'al Hijrah celebration at the Iskandar Islamic Centre, Johor Bahru, said that Hijrah should be the starting point and catalyst for change in the universality of Islamic teachings around the world. This year, the Johor Tokoh Ma'al Hijrah Award was given to former Chief Shari Judge Dato' Amir Danuri, 72. In Terengganu, Chief Secretary to the Government Tan Sri Muhammad Zuki Ali, who is from Kampung Bukit Bayas, Kuala Terengganu, was named the recipient of the Tokoh Ma'al Hijrah Award. The award was presented by the Sultan of Terengganu, Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin, at the Dewan Besar of Wisma Darul Iman. In Pahang, Pahang warrior Mat Kilau, whose real name is Muhammad Khatib Rasu Abdul Salam, was named the Tokoh Ma'al Hijrah with the award received by his grandson, Muhammad Al-Hamadi Abu Bakar, 56. The award comes with 10,000 ringgit, a trophy and a certificate. In Sabah, former judge of the Sharia Court of Appeal, Datuk Jasri alias Nasib Mad Jakir, was named Sabah Tokoh Ma'al Hijrah at the Sabah Ma'al Hijrah celebration held at Dewan Saadah, Wisma Majlis Ugama Sabah. In Sarawak, the Ma'al Hijrah celebration was held at several places in the state, with the biggest event held at the Sarawak Jami' Mosque. The celebration at the Sarawak Jami' Mosque started yesterday with the raising of the Ma'al Hijrah flag after the Friday prayer. The National Month and Fly the Jalu Gemilang celebrations are meant to remind Keluarga Malaysia of their independence to administer the country after being freed from the clutches of colonialism. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said although no longer controlled by colonialists, Keluarga Malaysia were constantly faced with challenges originating from outside the country, which could undermine their long-established harmony. He said COVID-19 was the biggest challenge faced by the country and the whole world in the past 2 years, but Malaysia had managed the pandemic well because of the firm action and measures taken by the government. Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said the National Day and Malaysia Day celebrations this year, themed Keluarga Malaysia Teguh Bersama, were most relevant to the determination and concept of harmony of a big family living together in unity with a sense of gratefulness.
Semangat Keluarga Malaysia Teguh Bersama itu harus disemarakkan dan dihayati oleh segenap lapisan masyarakat dalam usaha kita menyejahterakan kehidupan rakyat ketika mendepani cabaran ekonomi global. Saya yakin apabila kita melakukan secara bersama-sama, tiada siapa yang mampu mengganggu gugat keteguhan keluarga Malaysia. Bak kata pepatah, segenggam lidi sukar dipatahkan berbanding sebatang lidi.
The Prime Minister said this when launching the National Month and Fly the Jalu Gemilang 2022 celebrations at Dataran Putrajaya earlier today. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister said apart from flying the Jalur Gemilang, other ways to show love for the country includes adopting the habit of sharing authentic news. He said the issue of spreading fake news, especially through social media, should be checked before it became a practice that could destroy the well-being of keluarga Malaysia.
Gejala menyebarkan berita palsu atau berita tidak benar terutamanya menerusi media sosial harus dikawal dan dibendung sebelum ianya menjadi satu amalan yang boleh memporak-perandakan kesejahteraan keluarga Malaysia. Gunakanlah media sosial secara berhemah untuk menyemarakkan sambutan bulan kebangsaan dengan ucapan-ucapan murni kepada rakan-rakan taulan, majikan dan keluarga sendiri.
The Premier also urged keluarga Malaysia to practice noble values, working together and showing tolerance, as well as supporting all government initiatives to show their love for the country.
Muda TLR Muhammad Akmal Sarkinin bersama 8 orang anggota. Mengiringi pasukan ATM ini ialah pasukan...
Earlier, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri and cabinet members including Communications and Multimedia Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa joined more than 15,000 members of Keluarga Malaysia in a 2.7-kilometre walk under the Berjalan Teguh Summer program. The event took place in a lively and colourful atmosphere filled with patriotism. During the walk from the Ministry of Federal Territories to the finishing line at Dataran Putrajaya, the participants of the Berjalan Teguh Bersama were accompanied by the beat of patriotic songs performed by the Setia Band from the Immigration Department. Various activities were held along the route of the walk, including a musical presentation from the Orang Asli group and a brass band performance. The Prime Minister also flagged off the Kembara Merdeka Keluarga Malaysia 2022 convoy involving more than 530 participants and 434 vehicles from various agencies. The convoy will be making its way to various states before ending the tour on 31st August at Dataran Merdeka in Kuala Lumpur, the venue for the National Day 2022 celebrations. The Tobacco Product and Smoking Control Bill 2022, put forward by Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin, will not adversely affect the retail industry as alleged by several industry players. The minister stressed that if approved, the bill will be implemented in stages and would not involve the existing smokers.
Jumlah pasaran rokok yang akan semakin berkecil, semakin jadi kecil, adalah berperingkat. Mula dengan 2007, yang lahir 2007, lepas tu 2008, lepas tu 2009. Dia akan ambil masa yang lama sebelum pasaran itu sangat-sangat kecil. Dia akan ambil masa 20-30 tahun.
According to Khairi, the tobacco industry only contributes about 0.18% to the country's gross domestic product, apart from 1.8% to the national tax revenue. The health minister is also optimistic that the bill would obtain the majority support from the members of parliament. He expressed his confidence based on the results of the engagement sessions and briefings conducted previously. Khairi had tabled the bill, also known as Tobacco Generational Endgame (GEG), for the first reading at the Dewan Rakyat on Wednesday. Under the proposed bill, children born in 2007 and subsequent years will be prohibited from smoking, buying or possessing any types of smoking products, including electronic cigarettes or vape products, even after reaching the age of 18. Apart from this, shopkeepers and cigarette vendors are also not allowed to sell smoking products to those covered by the ban. In a related development, the health minister stressed that there will be no criminal record or jail term for tobacco generational endgame or GEG offenders. According to Khairi, individuals born from 2007 onwards who violate the regulations would only face a fine not exceeding 5,000 ringgit upon conviction.
Saya boleh nyatakan kepada media bahawa kebanyakannya kita bagi compound RM50 saja. Sejak tahun 2019, 10,421 kompaun dikeluarkan kepada orang belum dewasa di bawah peraturan kawalan hasil tembakau 2004, existing law. 10,421 notis kita keluarkan kepada orang bawah usia 18. Daripada jumlah tersebut, hanya 145 sahaja yang dibawa ke mahkamah.
He added that the GEG would not contribute to the rise of illicit cigarettes but would logically help reduce its demand following the reduction in the number of smokers. Khairi said the issue of illicit cigarettes was already one that was being tackled by the government, adding that it was nothing new. He also gave assurance that his ministry would continue working with other authorities such as the Royal Malaysia Police and Royal Malaysian Customs Department, among others, to flush out the illicit market. The minister added that a total of 2 million lives can be saved and smoking-related diseases can be prevented in the period up to 2040 if the proposed bill comes into force. Meanwhile, Khairi revealed that all travellers entering Malaysia no longer need to fill in and complete the traveller's card feature in the My Sejahtera application effective Monday. He said the relaxation was decided after taking into account the country's health system, which is now at a good and controlled level. Explaining further in a statement, the Health Minister said the relaxation also aims to facilitate the entry procedures of travellers to the country. He noted that his ministry will constantly intensify symptom monitoring activities among travellers at all international entry points in Malaysia. He further said during arrival at entry points, if a traveller is detected with a fever through a thermal scanner or is found to be unwell, they will be referred for re-examination by the Health Department. After a health assessment is made, and if they are suspected of having an infectious disease such as COVID-19 or monkeypox, they will be referred to a nearby health facility for further checkup and treatment. Therefore, Khairi said all travellers who have just arrived from abroad should practice self-monitoring of their health status, comply with the prescribed standard operating procedures, and are advised to go to a nearby health facility for examination if unwell. Coming up, 5 co-op brand necessities to be sold at cheaper prices from September. Tenaga Nasional Berhad TNB will give rebates to consumers, especially traders, affected by the power outage in several areas in Peninsular Malaysia last Wednesday. Energy and Natural Resources Minister Datuk Seri Taqiyuddin Hassan said about 1 million domestic, industrial and commercial account users were affected by the power outage that occurred at 12:39 p.m. on that day.
1 juta tu yang terjejas tu ada yang domestik, ada yang industri, ada yang komersial. 1 juta terlibat. Di dalam TNB punya standard macam claim lah. Dia ada kalau sekiranya peniaga-peniaga tu mempunyai gangguan berapa lama, dia boleh menuntut rebate kepada bil elektrik tu. Adalah, saya akan bentang hari Khamis ni dalam Parlimen.
Datuk Seri Taqiyuddin also praised TNB for its swift action in restoring power supply within 2 hours and 21 minutes. According to TNB, the electricity supply disruption that occurred in several areas in Peninsular Malaysia was caused by an equipment failure at the Yongping North Main Input Substation in Yongping, Johor. The damage resulted in a load loss of 2.2 gigawatts, which is 10% of the total supply demand in Peninsular Malaysia. 5 essential items under co-op brand, namely sugar, cooking oil, flour, rice and frozen chicken, will be sold at lower prices from September. The brand under the initiative of the Cooperative Commission of Malaysia, SKM, is expected to be at 10 to 25% cheaper than local market prices. Entrepreneur and Cooperative Development Minister Tan Sri Noor Omar said that the essential goods will be imported from Thailand, Indonesia, Pakistan, India and Brazil to reduce the role and involvement of middlemen.
Rangka permulaan kita akan memulakan di kedai-kedai koperasi yang ada dalam negara kita ni lebih kurang ada 3,000 koperasi bersama dengan angkasa kedai-kedai ini, dan Itu yang stage yang pertama. Stage yang kedua, kalau kita tengok nanti barang ini akan mendapat sambutan, kita akan jual juga di luar daripada kedai koperasi. Tetapi trademark dia co-op lah. Kalau co-op ini trademark yang dipunyai oleh SKM. Jadi harga co-op ini dia akan dikawal oleh SKM. Kalau kita dapat report mana-mana yang menjual barang-barang yang menggunakan trademark co-op ini tidak mengikut arahan yang ditentukan oleh SKM, maka kita boleh membatalkan mereka ini sebagai pengedar kita.
Tan Sri Noh said the ministry does not rule out the possibility of expanding to some other items if the initiative has received a positive response. He added that the products would be sold both physically and online beginning September. Thai authorities will monitor the sales of Malaysian subsidized 1 kilogram cooking oil in polybags by traders, especially those operating at the Kelantan, Thailand border. Narathiwat Deputy Governor Patimo Sadiamu said, apart from monitoring, the issue could only be solved through negotiations between the two countries. Elaborating further, Patimo said the authorities in Thailand could only monitor and advise Thai traders not to sell the Malaysian cooking oil packets, as there was no specific law that prevented them from selling the controlled items.
Kerajaan dia kena ada bahasa Thailand panggil kuakum.
Perbincangan.
Ya, perbincangan dia kena ada kuak. Ya. Pasti dia ada yang di polisi hak kerajaan. Ya, orang kerajaan ni kena dengar kerajaan.
Penjaga
penjaga ya. Ya.
Jangan jual
Ya barang ni banyak karo. Banyak karo. Ya bukan masak saja, banyak karo.
Speaking to reporters after flagging off the Malaysia-Thailand Friendship Cycling Program in Kelantan, Patimo said there were about 30,000 petty traders operating along the border. Malaysian 1 kilogram cooking oil in polybags are widely sold in certain parts of the country's southern provinces since more than 10 years ago. However, intense operations by Malaysian authorities at the Kelantan border have managed to curb the smuggling activities. Chief Secretary to the Government Tan Sri Mohamad Zuki Ali said he would meet Congress of Unions of Employees in the Public and Civil Services QPEX President Dato' Adnan Mat on Monday to discuss issues related to salary claims.
Saya akan berbincang dengan Presiden QPEX pada hari Isnin ini untuk melihat kemungkinan ataupun mengkaji, meneliti permohonan yang dibuat oleh pihak QPEX. Kita selalu bertemu dengan QPEX, kita buat sesi engagement.
Dato' Adnan recently said QPEX had appealed to the government to quickly fulfill its salary claims, namely raising the minimum wage of civil servants to 1,800 ringgit, a 2-level increase in the annual salary increment, and the implementation of a new remuneration system that is more comprehensive, fair, and equitable. He was reported as saying it was important for these claims to be met to help civil servants cope with the rising cost of living. Up in our foreign segment, hundreds of protesters storm Iraq parliament in support of cleric Muqtada. The annualized inflation rate in the European countries using the euro currency has shot up to another record of 8.9% in July, an all-time high since the establishment of the eurozone in 1999, fueled by higher energy and food prices, according to figures released by Eurostat. Specifically, inflation in Spain has grown from 10.2% in June to 10.8% in July, the highest level seen since September 1984, according to provisional figures released by the country's National Statistics Institute. The increase is largely propelled by hiking costs of food, non-alcoholic beverages and electricity, and energy and food prices remain the most volatile factors affecting the country's inflation rate. The consumer prices in France have increased by 6.1% over the last 12 months in July, after 5.8% in June, setting a record high since July 1985. The Institute believes that the main upward pressure came from the cost of food, manufactured goods and services linked to the summer period. Energy prices have soared from the end of 2021, mainly due to the Russia-Ukraine conflict and intensified sanctions against Russia imposed by the European Union. Supporters of powerful Iraqi cleric Muqtada Sadr penetrated Baghdad's heavily fortified Green Zone and occupied parliament today in a deepening political crisis. It is the second time in days that Muqtada supporters have forced their way into the legislative chamber, months after elections that failed to lead to formation of a government. Supporters of Muqtada, who once led a militia against American and Iraqi government forces, opposed the recently announced candidacy of Mohammad al-Sudani, a pro-Iran bloc's pick for prime minister. Demonstrators waved Iraqi flags and pictures of the cleric inside the legislature. They crowded the chamber where some sat at deputies' desks while others milled about, raising their mobile phones to film the occupation. They entered after thousands of protesters had massed at the end of a bridge leading to the Green Zone before dozens pulled down concrete barriers protecting it and ran inside. Security forces had fired tear gas near an entrance to the district, home to foreign embassies and other government buildings as well as parliament. Some protesters on the bridge were injured and carried off by their fellow demonstrators. Up in sports, Hendrawan gives his shoes to Jamaican shuttler as Malaysia win 5-0 at the Commonwealth. Mohammad Anik Kasdan has won the first gold medal for Malaysia at the 2022 Birmingham Commonwealth Games at the National Exhibition Centre today. The 20-year-old weightlifter put on a great performance to win the gold in the men's 55-kilogram event with a combined total of 249 kilograms. The Segamat-born athlete lifted 107 kilograms for the snatch and 142 for clean and jerk. The Games debutant was placed second after the snatch behind India's Sarga Sanket Mahadev, who confidently lifted 113 kilograms. However, misfortune struck for the Indian favourite when he sustained an injury in the clean and jerk routine. The Indian lifter lifted 135 kilograms and could not clear the next two lifts to settle for a total of 248 kilograms. That gave Anik a shot at winning the gold in the 55-kilogram category if he successfully lifted 142 kilograms. He took his chance well and managed to set a new Games record of 249 kilograms en route to snatching the gold and also the first medal for Malaysia with his total of 249 kilograms. Dilanka Isuru Kumara Yodage of Sri Lanka took bronze with a combined total of 225 kilograms. Malaysia's first gold medal of the Games also ends the country's two-day medal drought. Mohammad Anik was thankful over his win and said it was a good start for his weightlifting career. Meanwhile, Aznil Bidin secured another weightlifting gold for Malaysia after lifting a combined total of 285 kilograms for a new Games record in the men's 61-kilogram competition. And in other Commonwealth Games news, Malaysia powered into the badminton mixed team quarterfinals after chalking up another easy 5-0 win over Jamaica in Group D early this morning. Malaysia retained a similar lineup that thrashed Zambia 5-0, except for Chan Peng Soon Chia Yi Si, who replaced Tan Kian Meng Lai Pei Jing in the mixed doubles. The incident happened in the second game when the sole of Samuel Ricketts' shoe gave way and his coach handed over his pairs and another from a women's player. Both did not fit. Noticing Ricketts struggling with the replacement shoes, Ng Ziyong approached near the net and asked if the size was okay and then offered to help. Singles coach Hendrawan then rushed into court with his shoes and handed them over to Ricketts. The Jamaican waved at Ziyong and Hendrawan in appreciation of the good gesture, and the match resumed. Ziyong, serving at 4-5 at that stage, went on to win the match 21-12, 21-16. The act of kindness was acknowledged by Ricketts, the Jamaican team and the country's supporters who were at the NEC. The 5-0 victory helped Malaysia book their place in the quarter-final stage with South Africa from Group D. As the second seeds, Malaysia will not face top seeds India before the final. And in the absence of traditional powerhouse China in the diving pool, Australia, Canada and England will pose a threat to the country's divers in their pursuit of medal glory at the Commonwealth Games. National Diving Queen Datuk Pandalela Renong said divers from the three countries should be given due attention because they will provide a tough challenge in the hunt for medals when the competition kicks off at the Sandwell Aquatic Centre in Birmingham on 4th August.
Commonwealth ni pun bukan carang-carang punya pertandingan, jadi saya pun kena usaha lagi sebab pertandingan di situ penunjun dia pun dah lain, jadi mengikut saya punya pengalaman apa-apa pun boleh terjadi, jadi saya hanya akan mampu berikan yang terbaik dan harap tuah di pihak saya dan juga the Malaysian diving team.
The silver medalist at the 2016 Rio Olympics and bronze at the 2012 London Olympics said her achievements at the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary last month have motivated her to continue performing her best dives. At the World Championships, Datuk Pandalela managed to overcome challenges from the Commonwealth countries and won 2 bronze medals. Malaysia won 3 gold medals in the artistic category at the 2022 World Pencak Silat Championships at the Malacca International Trade Centre MITC. In last night's finals, Muhammad Taqiyuddin Hamid and Sazlan Yuga got the ball rolling in the men's ganda category when they defeated Filipino brothers Al Muhaidib Abad and Alfau Jan Abad. The Malaysians displayed a solid performance, beginning with a bare-handed combat routine followed by a long stick and machete to collect 9,950 points, surpassing the Filipino pair's 9,930. Meanwhile, Muhammad Shafiq Ibrahim, Nasrul Adam Muhammad Asri and Lokman Laji bagged the men's Ragu gold after scoring 9,965 points to defeat the Indonesian team of Anggi Faisal Mubarak, Asep Yuldani Sani and Rano Slamet Nukhara. National exponent Meriwati Manuel delivered gold number 3 in the women's solo creative category when she scored 9,950 points to defeat Puspa Arumsari of Indonesia. Over 500 exponents from 40 countries, including hosts Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, the Philippines, Canada and Vietnam, are competing in the 6-day 19th edition of the World Championships. And that concludes this evening's news at 10. In our top story today, weightlifters Anik and Aznil deliver Malaysia's first 2 gold medals at the Commonwealth Games. Let us symbolize our spirit of patriotism and proudly fly the Jalur Gemilang as a gesture of our love for the country to enliven this year's National Month celebrations. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Mona Priya. Stay tuned to Saluran Berita RTM. Salam Keluarga Malaysia and have a great evening.